Hello, beloved Twin Flames. This is Stephanie Parasha, Divine Light, coming out to you from New Zealand, Aotearoa. I'm in my little house truck and I've got the fire going and it's raining outside, so there might be some funny noises in the background from the fire and the rain. Two things together, fire and water. So I am bringing you an update of things that have been going on in my own world, as well as tuning into a large number of people energetically, particularly those of you that are on the Twin Flame journey and are experiencing signs of those things happening in your life. Maybe you're also a light worker and interested in divine love and relationships, or maybe for some reason you've just happened to click on this video and you're listening in, so that's great. Thank you for listening and for being here and for being with me also on this amazing journey as we transition through what I believe to have been a very, very big portal that started off with the eclipse, and then we continued through to Lion's Gate, and now we are many of us are either already on or have shifted to or in the process of jumping onto higher vibrational timelines. So that may have involved quite big changes in your life, whether it's been a change of relationship status, a place of where you're living, change of where you're living, change of job, or perhaps you were challenged to change and decided to stay where you are and shift your energy in some way that showed that your commitment to a different path in some way, shape or form, that may not take the shape of a big physical shift, but maybe just more an energetic shift within yourself that you've noticed that's been big, and that's all beginning. So the changes are starting from the new moon, beginning on I think it's the 10th of September, the Monday. So this is where everything's getting anchored in on ground level. Those of you that have been noticing the 144s, you'll be getting yourself into your grid position of where you're meant to be in terms of your energy for the next stage of what I believe is continually building that bridge between leaving behind the old paradigm based on fears and a lot of suffering and pain and darkness, and moving into more of living in our light and love and awareness, and various people are at various stages along that bridge and have certain roles to play in order to bring everyone, the whole planet, into a state of awakened awareness of higher consciousness and higher and deeper loving with each other. And obviously that also is also known as unity consciousness as well. So, and part of that process has been the unity within yourself first, which a lot of people have been working on very strongly for several years, numbers of years, but predominantly has been picking up and pace and depth and awareness and heightened deeper work from 2012 onwards, where many have sort of been thrust into what has felt like dark nights of the soul, where we've had to traverse really difficult states of being that we've held within ourselves, that we've inherited from lineages, and that we've been working on clearing through various methods, and all the while hopefully coming into a more settled calmness and peace within ourselves, a more trusting, safe space within ourselves, as we've continually worked on the unification process within, that is in many cases been triggered by and will be triggered by relationships outside of ourselves, whether they be soulmates or karmic lessons or twin flames. It's all been about learning about the relationship that we have within the aspects of ourselves, how we treat ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, how much we unconditionally love and accept ourselves to the very depths of our core being, which has been the medicine that's enabled us to then reflect and relate to others around us from this new place of being, which is very, very new to a large number of us, but many of us have been working hard on this. So my videos always sort of carry a generalized theme of the energies that are going on a lot in the twin flame community that I'm viewing and seeing for a large number. I'm seeing a lot of twin flame relationships. There's been a definite shift in terms of a large number of people being able to now be in a place of where the communication is a lot more open, where it's safer to be more vulnerable with each other, and still working on developing the trust and the safety, and realizing some of the old behaviors that had been playing out in our relationships were pretty much the result of, in many cases, childhood traumas from past lifetimes that had been creating blockages that our ego had put up in order to protect us from further harm. But many of us have now learnt how to dismantle those protective mechanisms, to shut off the safety switch, and realise that actually it was the safety switch that was kind of stopping us from going any further in order to avoid pain. But what we realised was that if we went through a little bit more in those fears, but continued to keep ourselves safe whilst we traversed through our fears, that we could then evolve into, that noise is the pine cones making a nice noise in the fire. And so we realised that once we were brave enough and vulnerable enough to hold ourselves in that space of where we've been our most afraid to go, that we slowly but surely are shifting into a newer energy where we can now gain access to a part of us that we never knew we had, our beautiful power source. And also it's enabled us to have more open relationships with others, where we're no longer afraid of, maybe them not loving us, or them finding out where we're not as good as what we might be making out to be, and all of those sort of fears that have been with us. Now really letting those go and being okay about just really being ourselves. So I was talking to another twin flame friend of mine, and we were laughing about how still, as we go through this journey, we have times when we often go, oh, what are we doing? This is really dumb. And we were laughing about that, and how many times both of us had actually been there with this space, and yet at the same time we had this part of us that was saying, what are you doing? You're wasting your time with this person. You're just getting obsessed, or this is really pathetic and it's not going anywhere, and rah-de-rah. There was another part of us that just knew, without even having any evidence to prove to the mind, obviously the ego that needs to know, that we just knew that this was the right thing to be doing. This was the right thing, that on some level, no matter what, that this is the person for us. Without any evidence to say so, we've just continued to persist through what many people would have decided was a real waste of time. We just kept going on our twin flame journey, and being prepared and being content with just even small indications that we were on the right track. And often those didn't even necessarily come from the twin flame out themselves, when in the face of times when we were getting blocked, or we weren't hearing from them, or there was no message coming in that direction, we were getting those signs from the universe. Because as we discovered this, as we had to surrender to the divine guiding this, and being in charge of this whole bigger part of this mission, and leaving it up to divinity. And when we are connecting to our own divinity and our connection to source, that's when also things started to become more in the flow, and we trusted in that. So so basically that was just a little recap, because I'm wanting to kind of recap because of what the timeline shift for me has meant, and what this portal, going through this portal, has meant for me in my personal life. Firstly, it has meant that I'm going to be moving. In New Zealand, we have 2 islands, and I've been living in the South Island of New Zealand for the last 8 years, and that's been pretty much my cocoon period, where I've been sort of taking it really easy and being mostly a mum, really working on my spiritual growth and my spiritual business, doing these videos, obviously, and doing my spiritual healing work, and at the same time doing, part-time work in the 3D world, but predominantly choosing jobs that were very much connected to my twin flame mission. And so what's happened at this point is I have been putting out to the universe, wanting to manifest sort of a next level of comfort in my life and abundance. And so put out to the universe, I really want to get my own home. I want to get a good job. My daughter's getting older now. She doesn't need me so much there. She can be a little bit more independent. And so I've just been putting it out there. And I was very lucky, and I've been very, very lucky to get a wonderful job that I'm going to be starting in 2 weeks' time. And this job is, again, very much part of my mission. It's going to be at a respite care house and home for people that are needing a break from life, and it's in part to avoid hospitalisation, or maybe after a crisis. It's a place where people can come and rest, and it's run entirely by peers, so it's by people that have already experienced this themselves and have come through and recovered, and are now walking alongside and supporting those that are going through it. So I'm really looking forward to this really amazing job that I feel so grateful and thankful to the universe for providing me. And I'm also being very much guided to a particular location geographically of partially, the Lightworker grid, to where I need to be placing myself. So this is a big change for me, and I'm very much aware that that's probably going to pull quite a bit of my energy away from what I've been doing with the YouTube videos and my healing work, yet at the same time I'll know that when I'm guided to, that I will be guided to bring through updates and information as and when required, and I potentially am still able to see clients, but probably I'll have a lesser client load, with limited time available due to being at full-time work. So that is one of the big changes that I'm going to be going through in the next 2 weeks. And alongside that, my twin flame and I have been getting closer, in a sense of opening up our conversation and communication to be really, really, open about our childhoods and talking with each other on a deeper level, and sharing a lot more and becoming more vulnerable with each other. Obviously, I've been giving him videos and things, and we pass videos back and forth to each other to do with healing and understanding the brain and so on, and different chemicals. And we've been doing a lot of research to find the answers to some of why the difficulties we both have in getting close in relationships, which is a really good thing to be talking to your twin flame about. So, and the other thing with part of my journey is, also just recently, because I'm going to be actually moving away from my twin flame in geographic terms, I've always found that when we're further away from each other, we actually get closer, because we spend more time energetically connecting and communicating via telephone or via messenger services and so on. So that is, I'm looking forward to that as well, because for us, having both of us been through childhood trauma and experiences in past relationships that have been very harmful and hurtful to us both, we need to take it very, very slowly and create a lot of space and a lot of safety in order for the relationship to grow. So the space is okay for us as we kind of continue to build on safety. And I was noticing something else that I often talk about, or to my friends, and I probably haven't mentioned on this YouTube channel, but I often talk about the progress between my twin flame and I being like little Lego blocks, and that it's a very, very slow process, but nevertheless it is happening on some level, but it's very, very small. To me, we used to be on the really small ones, and now we're moving up to the bigger ones, and we're putting bigger Lego blocks together, and I'm actually starting to see that structure form. And as you know, when you start a Lego structure, you think, oh my gosh, this is never going to work, it's going to take ages, and it's very detailed and it takes time. But that's what it is. It takes time. It's detailed. There's a lot to it. But every little block you put on and eventually becomes this beautiful creation. So that was one thing that I wanted to share. And I also noticed when I wrote down the word Lego that the word ego is inside Lego. And I thought that was super funny. And I just love these little jokes. And I feel like the universe just laughs at me when I finally click and see these things. And then I said to the universe, yeah, but there's an L on the Lego, and they said the L stands for love. And so we're kind of dismantling on some level the ego, but adding in the love with it. It's kind of a combination of the ego that we had that was there to protect us, but now needs to be kind of cajoled and nurtured and loved into knowing that it's okay now. You don't need to be afraid anymore. It's safe. It's safe to just relax and trust and open your heart, and that's what the L is there for. So after all these years, 3 years of this twin flame journey talking about Lego, I suddenly had that epiphany. And the other thing that I've been noticing too is, I did do, from time to time I do letting goes of my twin, and in a way of that an extreme letting go, because how I do that is I let go in terms of the emotional attachment that might have crept in unwittingly or unknowingly, that is not actually unconditional love. It might be there's a little bit of holding on, a little bit of extra attachment that's kind of clingy. So I just from time to time do these little exercises where I just cleanse and clean and detach from any kind of attachment that may be an unhealthy attachment based on fear. So I did that session over the weekend, just a couple of days ago, and then today I usually always get a sign very soon after that says, okay, you've detached, but you're still together, just so you know. So the universe has to send me these signs. And the last time I did that, I think those of you that have followed me for many years will have heard that I had a vehicle show up right outside my house that was the exact same vehicle as what my twin flame drives, and the number plate was 8801, which to me said, okay, you want to detach from me or cut me or whatever, but you can't, because we're always together as one. And that was the 2, the 8s are often the symbol of the eternity symbol, and I feel it as another twin flame symbolic number because it shows the 2 together. And then today I had to register my vehicle because I'd had it on hold. I've had it parked stationary for some time, and I need to get it onto the road and need to drive it now. So I had to get it all mechanically checked and certified, and then I was able to register it. And so I went to the post office where we do our car vehicle registration, did the registration and got my registration certificate, and the date was 8/11/18, and I just went, okay. Okay, you did it again. So this is what Twin Flame Land is all about. Even though I may be potentially taking a little bit of a break out from the amount of time that I've been spending, the thing is with Twin Flames, you can't take a break from it because you're always part of it. You're always there no matter what you're doing. Just want you to know that we're always still working on this. And I know a lot of people lose faith from time to time, but I've always been very vigilant about maintaining your faith for this journey, despite it maybe looking like it's not going to turn out. Things are being done And if you can liken it, and my analogy, to the Lego, that, it's small little pieces. It takes a lot of time, but we get there in the end, and suddenly you'll have something beautiful that's formed. And the structures that are being formed have been all connected to our chakras, releasing and healing out all of the lower energies that have been. That's the structural form, getting the base structure organised and having that foundation down. Particularly the Divine Feminine's been really working on that, and that's been part of dismantling a whole lot of old templates around the dependency on the male to be the provider. Now the feminine has had to stand on her own, or on their own if you're a male that carries the feminine charge, and be completely independent and supportive, self-supporting. And so, but that doesn't mean you become fiercely independent and support yourself, and don't you at the same time needing to relax into and soften into, I can stand on my own 2 feet, but I'm open to love. So, but not in a needy kind of way, right? So there's been all these balancing things that we've been working out. The foundations are getting put down. The trust foundations are being worked on in terms of clearing the suffering and pain that's been caused to us in our solar plexus chakra and our sacral chakra. We're still doing a lot of that work. It's still getting, shifting around and moving and becoming more stabilized. So, yeah, I think that's just a kind of a summary on kind of where we're up to, what's going on at present, and how people are feeling generally. And, as always, continue to follow your heart, trust your intuition, keep looking out for those signs that will pop in to remind you what you're here to do, and just keep working on building safety around yourself and for your twin flame, for you both to come into a place where you feel really, really safe, because that's the place where people feel they belong, is when they feel safe. And there's a whole lot of chemistry and a lot of psychology around that, which I may do another video on soon, but some of you may already know about this stuff, so just be aware of how important it is, because we've never had that. Safety and belonging have been two really big parts of the human existence that we have, many have not had, and it's very, very important that we create that for ourselves in our lives, and also with our twin flame connection. Okay, I'm going to leave it there so this video doesn't take too long, but I just wanted to let you know that for the next week I will still be, actually for the next 2 weeks, for the next week I'm available. For the following week I'll be moving, but still not yet starting work. My job starts another 2 weeks, so I am available if anyone feels like they need a session with me. Yep, I'll put that link below. In the meantime, I just send you out lots and lots of love from my heart and for your journey, and I hope you're all doing well up there, and bye for now. And I hope that I will be able to continue to do these videos from time to time. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, bye for now.